What is up, boys? We missed Mock Draft Monday, but there's always Tuesday, and we're doing this on ESPN, man, because I'm in Germany, dude, and I don't have any way to draft with people due to any time that's actually decent. So I chose to kick myself in the nuts and to draft from the 6th spot. So welcome to watch me struggle. But as we look at the board, we already see that CeeDee Lamb is still on the board, and at the 6th spot, I think I have to go with CeeDee Lamb. I'm just a little bit nervous about Saquon. I saw a stat that anyone who gets the amount of carries he gets the next season either doesn't finish the season, they get injured, they fucking, there's only been like 8 running backs who have like performed this similarly, right, the next season. I don't know. I'll fucking see if I can find that stat for you guys. But yeah, man, we're doing an ESPN draft. So this is filled with people like, grandmas, fucking somebody's dog is drafting. 8 people will be autoing from the jump, dude. There's already like 3 people auto drafting. So, we enjoy kicking ourselves in the nuts, pissing all over ourselves. I don't know what I'm doing on ESPN, but it's one of the few places where there's actual humans. So this is what it is, man. As the draft season gets close, we're probably going to be drafting on Sleeper, doing some best ball stuff. And this is what it is. Let's look at who's been drafted. Holy shit, the ESPN UI is cheeks. So we see that your standard players get picked. We get Jamar, Bijan, Puka. Puka at the 1-3 is kind of insane. I guess this dude's not worried about Devontae Adams in the slightest, which, some people think that Puka can still produce the way he used to. I think Devontae Adams is a different beast, man. I think he's a little different than a Cooper Kupp, right? Jahmyr Gibbs, value town at the 5. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be fantastic. So it's back to my pick. I don't even know if this is PPR. I'm just going to assume it is. I'm just going to play as if it's PPR. It's a 12 team. And because I'm going to assume it's PPR, I'm going to go ahead and take Nico Collins. So starting the draft with CeeDee Lamb and Nico Collins is kind of cracked. You're essentially ensuring, or you're increasing the likelihood that you're going to have 2 wide receivers that hopefully will get at least 16 points per game in PPR. Which I like to say are close to your league winners. I think 20 points per game in PPR is like a true league winner. That's like a Jamar Chase. And I think both those guys have already hit that mark. They can potentially hit that 20 point per game, especially Drake London. Tyreek Hill is somebody that I would not be looking at or taking. Just for the sake of seeing how my team shakes out, I am going to go ahead and take Breece Hall. Now, I had a couple options there. I could have solidified my QB, taking Jaden Daniels. Let me see how my team looks when I go RB early. You don't want to wait too long to get your first RB. Otherwise, you're left with like fucking DeAndre Swift, man. And then you're truly kicking yourself in the nuts with the DeAndre Swift as your RB1, right? Chuba Hubbard, if he falls, RJ Harvey. There's a lot of rookies that I really like as like your RB1s, but RJ Harvey's kind of the end of that little tier where it's like, all right, I'm pretty comfortable with that. I know he's going to be a workhorse. I know he's going to, get enough volume, get enough work. Doesn't really have anyone behind him threatening him. He's kind of the threat, right? He is the danger. He is the Walter White in the room. So yeah, man, let's have a look at some of these other picks. Omarion Hampton goes. That's another guy who you're comfortable with as your RB1. Chase Brown, very comfortable. He's got that like top 10 potential. It's just I'm a little bit worried about his stranglehold on that RB job. So let's look at who's available. I see Alvin Kamara. This is a redraft league. Why not, dude? I think Alvin Kamara's got one more in him, dude. One last rodeo. Let's go with Alvin Kamara. Solidify that RB2 spot. We get Breece Hall. A little bit uncertain about his workload, but he's young. Alvin Kamara, a little bit uncertain about his workload, but he's old. So we went with uncertainty, right? We're filling our running back room with uncertainty. It's only a 1 flex league, so in a typical league, in a normal, like, potentially start 4 wide receiver leagues, maybe you get 2 flexes or 3 wide receiver slots, I would just probably triple tap wide receiver and then get a running back with like my 4th round pick. But because this is a ESPN league and it's literally your grandma Ethel, fucking your dog, and 1 flex, there's a defense and a kicker, you can kind of get wild. I'm going to go ahead, as I mentioned, because it is a thin roster, I'm going to see if there's a quarterback that I like. And I do see that Patty Mahomes still on the board, but I kind of like Bo Nix a little bit later. So I'm going to go ahead and look back at wide receiver. Just see if I can fill that slot, finish it out. And I'm going to go ahead and go with Jalen Waddle. Now, I could have went with Smith. I like him just as much. Just a slightly lower pass attempt team on the Eagles, while Jalen Waddle, hopefully the Miami Dolphins remember what made them such a good team, and that it was being a pass-first team is why they were so good. So hopefully they go back to that. Tyreek Hill, dude might not even be on the team. I hear there's a cut potential. I doubt it, but he's like 31 years old. He's getting old. He's got like 3 off-season surgeries. Jalen Waddle's still kind of young, and he proved to us he could be a top 12 guy. So I'm going to drink that Kool-Aid one more year, man, and see if I fall for that one more time. Looking at the wide receivers, there's still a couple names that are interesting. Jameson Williams, just to solidify that. Like, let's say Jalen Waddle ends up being a fart. You know that you can throw in a guy like Tet or Travis Hunter. That's where I would take another wide receiver. But because I kind of want to solidify my running back a little, because I'm a little worried about Hall and Kamara, Trevion Henderson's the pick here. So Trevion Henderson, guaranteed pass catching work with the potential to become the main guy. So I love that in a PPR league. I think, if you want to get wild, dude, and you want to take a guy like Trevion Henderson in the fucking 5th round, 4th round, even in a PPR startup league, be my guest, dude. I'll not call the police on you for that one. So Isaiah Pacheco, dude, he's absolutely cooked. Supposedly he looks pretty good in camp, but I will not be making that click, man. Not this season. I will not fall for that again. Let's look over at the quarterbacks. Bo Nix is gone, unfortunately. Are there any stacks? We have Nico. We have Jalen Waddle. We have CeeDee Lamb. I could wait and get Dak later. I'm probably going to go ahead and do that. Let's look back at wide receivers. Chris Olave is on the board. I'll go ahead and swoop him up. It's just, Chris Olave is talented, man. I know he's on a bad team. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be, but Olave's got talent. He's proven. Tet was also a possibility there. It's just unproven, right? He's a rookie. This is an ESPN league. You're talking about people that you fucking meet on the street who are homeless, right? These are the people that play in ESPN leagues. So just solidify the proven assets at that point. Now I'm drafting from the 6th spot, which is brutal, right? Like you can't really strategize who you want to take. You kind of have to like reach for players. And looking back at running backs, I can start to look to see if there's any more pass catching running backs. I have Trevion, Kamara, Breece Hall. Let's have a look at tight ends. I usually punt tight end pretty late, but you don't want to wait too long in these taco leagues. And with that said, I do see Dalton Kincaid. I do think Dalton Kincaid, he's got a lot to prove, man. Like, I could have went with the double stack, Jake Ferguson, get Dak. Then I got CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson. Pretty nice in these types of leagues, right? You're kind of betting on an offense, but I don't know if Jake Ferguson is somebody that inspires a lot of confidence. He's not like the most exciting player. Jonnu Smith could have been an option there too if you fell to me. But yeah, man, I think at this point in these types of leagues, Juwan Jennings is probably who I'm going to take if he falls to me. If not, he's probably not gonna, right? I think he's going to get autoed here. There he goes. Jacoby Myers is also not bad. Let's have a look at running backs just to make sure there's not any value. I do see Bashal Tune, who I do like, but I can probably get him a little bit later. You just never know, though, in these types of leagues. I think ETN is also interesting. You can double tap ETN and Tootin. I'll go ahead and take Jacoby Myers just in case Waddle and Olave are both farts. Myers is only half a fart. He's a fart escaping the jar, right? So Jaden Reed's still on the board. It's kind of insane. I probably would have taken him in hindsight. This draft is absolutely flying, dude. Holy shit. It's going to be the quickest mock draft video you've ever seen, which I kind of like, right? I'll probably do a little bit of analysis at the end of the video, so stick around for that. If you guys like this video, if you like this content, hit me up with a like. Best way to show support. It would make me happy. And subscribe, dude, if you want to catch these moving forward, if you like this type of video. So back to the draft. Michael Pittman, that's a little bit of a decent. Rachaad White, love him in a PPR league. I just think he's not going to fully disappear. Everybody loves Bucky Irving, but I don't think he's going to fully go away. Let's look at my team. I don't have a quarterback yet. Let's fix that before Dak Prescott gets auto-drafted. Justin Fields is also interesting here. If I had a jet wide receiver like a Garrett Wilson, I might consider that. But I'll go ahead and take Dak. I might want to take another quarterback late. Just somebody with some upside like an Anthony Richardson. I'll throw him in my queue just in case. I typically like to do that. If I have a pocket passing like veteran QB like a Dak, Matt Stafford, Justin Herbert, I usually like to pair them with like an upside rushing quarterback if possible, right? If you can get a Richardson, if you can get a Justin Fields, perfect type of like quarterback too. Now I'm not a dingus who I hoard quarterbacks. I'm gonna have like 4 or 5 quarterbacks on my team, like some people. Um, let's look at running backs, see if there's any more pass catching value. Now, as Isaac Guerrero is a fantastic pick, especially if you're going to swoop him from the CMC owner, because you can kind of not expect, but I mean, what are the chances CMC gets injured again? It's definitely non-zero, right? It's higher than your typical player. Ray Davis is another good one as like a handcuff. I think there are high value handcuffs and you have your low value handcuffs. Obviously, if you have James Cook, you want to try to get Ray Davis. He's in a good offense. If you have Derrick Henry, you want to try to get, Justice Hill? Who the fuck is the backup there? Justice Hill and, what's his name? Keaton Mitchell? I don't even know. Yeah, I mean, I guess the Ravens, that high-value backup, if you can just figure out who it is. Let's look over at wide receiver, see if there's anybody that's interesting. Brandon Ayuk. Holy shit. Why not, dude? Why not get a piece of the best strength of schedule team, the 49ers, right? They have the easiest strength of schedule in the season according to Las Vegas. Mike Clay, tons of different resources have the the Niners as the easiest schedule based on last season's win-loss. So excited about that. If you do make a gamble on CMC, I think if he can stay healthy, you will be rewarded on that. It's just very risky. You don't want to get that first round pick wrong, right? So that's the reason why I'm a little bit worried about that. Ray Davis is still there. You smash that if you have Cook or if it's a deep league, but because it's not that deep of a league, let me see if I can grab my second quarterback. I'll go ahead and take Anthony Richardson. That's a super reach. There's still dudes that are pretty decent on the board, like a Jordan Love, CJ Stroud. Then I have the Nico and Stroud stack. You can get another backup tight end here. Right? I can get like a Pat Freiermuth. I can get Jake Ferguson with that stack in case Kincaid ends up being a fart. Why not, dude? I have 2 QBs already. Are there any other running backs that are interesting? Braylon Allen, dude, reports are that he's going to get a significant amount of work. Jalen Wright just made a video about him recently that I think he can be like the Raheem Mostert of old, right? So if you're interested in that type of player, I think that's somebody who I'd like. Rashad Bateman, dude, not too bad, man. I'll catch a piece of this Baltimore Ravens. I don't end up taking a defense or a kicker, so I'm going to get an F on this because I am leaving like 20 points off my starting roster. But if you're in a league with defenses and kickers, what I like to do is I like to usually not draft them and just stream that position the entire season. So, if there's still value on the board like a Rashad Bateman, you pick him up, right? And if Rashad Bateman kind of gets pushed out of the limelight, Rashad Bateman was very effective and very productive for them last season. If they want to look elsewhere and start to get younger guys involved, which I don't know who those would be. I don't know if they have any young players. Actually, I'm still on the clock, so I'll go ahead and take a defense. Why not? Oh, yeah, I got auto-drafted the Bills. I would have taken them. So they're usually a pretty decent rushing defense. Their secondary has been fucking cheeks as of late, but yeah. That's the mock, dude. Let's look at some of these. Let's look at my team first, I guess. So Dak Prescott, Breece Hall, Alvin Kamara, CeeDee Lamb and Nico as my 2 wide receivers, and Dalton Kincaid is my tight end. A little bit of upside there. Let's see if he returns on his draft capital. Oh, it's actually not the end of the draft. I thought I was done, but I guess I just couldn't take another running back wide receiver. I'll probably take Bucker if he's available. Yep, looks like I autoed Matt Gay. That's a gay pick, dude. Super gay. Yeah, man, this is my team. Ron's rowdy team. CeeDee Lamb, Nico heading up the team with Breece Hall and Alvin Kamara as my 2 running backs. Followed by Jalen Waddle with some upside with the potential that Tyreek Hill gets kind of edged out. Trevion Henderson is a fantastic PPR pass-catching running back. I love it. I think he ends up taking over that backfield. Chris Olave, also, let's see if he can return some of that name value, some of that draft capital. Dalton Kincaid, as I mentioned. Jacoby Myers, a nice little PPR pick. He's liable for like 12 fantasy points a game. you can always slot him into your team in a pinch. Dak Prescott to fulfill the CeeDee Lamb Dak stack. Isaac Guerendo and Brandon Ayuk is trying to get a piece of the 49ers offense, where Guerendo more of a handicap pick, Brandon Ayuk more of a, hey, if he's healthy, he should be the wide receiver one for them. I know there's a lot of hype around Juwan Jennings, a lot of hype around Ricky Pearsall, but Brandon Ayuk, dude, he's absolutely Himothy. Let's just see if he can be Himothy after that pretty brutal injury that he had. Anthony Richardson as an upside rushing quarterback, just in case Dak Prescott isn't getting it done and I want a little bit more upside. I can always throw Anthony Richardson in, assuming he keeps the role. Rashad Bateman, a nice touchdown equity type pick. Buffalo Bills is my defense. I'll probably play the streaming game with both Gay and the Bills. So that's the team, man. Let me know what you guys think, dude. Let me know if you think I should have picked. I mean, looking back on it in hindsight, I probably don't take Kincaid. I probably don't take Waddle, right? Instead of Nico, I have the option there where I could have taken somebody else as well. Let's scroll all the way up and just see how that went. Holy shit. Is there a board? Yeah, we can see the board. Nice. All right, ESPN. All right. So I picked at the 6 instead of Nico. Drake London is definitely an option there. As I mentioned, Drake London's got like 20 point per game PPR potential. You can also go with Bucky Irving if you want to solidify that anchor RB strategy, where it's like you get an RB in the second round and then you mostly go wide receivers. So let's see how my team would have shaken out, right? Let's say I take CeeDee Lamb, and then I swing back around and I take Bucky. And then instead of Breece Hall, I go with Devontae Adams. I go with, I don't know if I would have liked my team. I go with Ladd McConkey maybe. Or no, I couldn't have gotten Ladd McConkey. Let's say I go with Devontae or Rashee Rice there. Swing around and take Pat Mahomes or maybe even a Devontae Smith. I think my team ends up looking a little bit better there, but that's why we mock, dude. That's why we do this. I'm gonna go ahead and take a picture of this just for future reference. I'll do that after this video. Hope you guys liked it, man. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit your boy with a like and a subscribe if you want to catch more of these looking forward, and I'll catch you guys next week.